How y'all doing, team up? Hard News of Murdock. How y'all doing? It's been a while. First things first, the reason why I haven't posted anything in a while is because a couple of weeks back, I lost my big brother, Danny Washington, and it's been very hard for me to sit here and read the news and not become overwhelmingly depressed because I was dealing with the loss of him. So I just need a little bit of time to get my mutant ability back, and I know my big bro is looking down on me right now saying, go get him, so I'm gonna do just that. With that being said, let's get into this. Now, I haven't had the chance to report in a while, but you would have had to been living under a rock to not be aware of the case of Ahmaud Arbery, which this young brother was gunned down by two goons who decided to take the law into their own hand, which resulted in his untimely death, which of course led to protests and outrage throughout the country and around the world. Now, there's been several developments in this story since it's been going on. First of which was people trying to say he was justifiably gunned down because he was trespassing on the man's property. But later on, the owner of the property released more security footage showing more people doing the exact same thing that Arbery was doing, but of course, they didn't lose their lives. So the first attempt out the playbook of how to smear a black man in America failed. Now, the second attempt at smearing him, or development, however you want to call it, was when they released footage of him being irate at the police because he was being harassed for simply being in the park on his day off, which led to even more backlash with people saying, look at how the police is treating this young man for no reason. But seemingly, we are finally past all the shenanigans because there are steps being made in the right direction because there was another arrest made in this case. Here's details on it. Take a look for yourself.
A new arrest in the Ahmaud Arbery case. You'll likely remember Ahmaud is the young black man seen in this video jogging through a mostly white neighborhood in Georgia when he was stopped and fatally shot. The killing was caught on tape and has sparked national outrage. After nearly 3 months and 4 different prosecutors on the case, the two men seen in the video, Travis and Gregory McMichael, father and son, were arrested and charged with Ahmaud's murder. What has remained unclear is why this man, William Roddy Bryan, took out his cell phone and filmed the last moments of Ahmaud's life and why he was at the scene in the first place. Late today, Bryan was arrested and charged with felony murder and criminal attempt to commit false imprisonment. Bryan has said he had no involvement in the shooting itself and insists he has fully cooperated with investigators. Last week, as Bryan sat next to his attorney, he had this to say on Good Morning America.
It was very unsettling. I've never experienced anything like that before. I really felt sorry, and I mean all kinds of emotions, but sorry was definitely one of them for the family of whoever the young man was that I did not know. I just, I don't really know what else to say other than it was unsettling. I've never experienced that, and I don't care to experience it again. I really don't. If the video wasn't there, I don't think there would be an outcome that anybody would be satisfied with, because I don't think anybody would know the outcome. But I'm not proud that I shot the video. But maybe it helps in the end.
And we now bring in Lee Merritt, a civil rights lawyer who represents Arbery's parents, for his reaction to this new arrest. So thanks so much for joining us, Lee.
Thank you for having me.
First, this is something that you and Ahmaud's family have been pushing for. What's their reaction to word of his arrest?
The family is extremely relieved. Wanda, I spoke to her, and she wasn't sure that this was going to happen, but we all knew that it should happen. And so to have him arrested, we know that's just one step. We think that he was a part of the conspiracy to murder her son, and that we're looking forward to a vigorous prosecution.
And Bryan has says that he was not involved in the killing, and that, in fact, by filming it, that may have even helped in the end. Why don't you believe him?
Well, Bryan is saying that Mr. Bryan was saying that he was not involved today. On the day of the shooting, he told law enforcement officers, according to the police report, that he used his car to block Ahmaud's path. That's when everybody was treating Ahmaud like he was a criminal as opposed to a victim, and so it was popular to say that at the time. Today, now that we all realize that Ahmaud was a victim, he's changed his story, but those facts bore him out. How he got there, what was his reason for following Ahmaud around in the first place, and what role he really played, I think is going to come into light, and is the reason for the arrest today.
Do you think that it's significant that in the video he's already rolling, it appears, before he arrives at the scene? It's not as if somebody witnessed something and then said, oh, let me start recording this.
That's exactly right. He was clearly trailing behind Ahmaud even before you see the McMichaels come into the frame. He is behind Ahmaud recording, and as if he knew something was about to happen. I think that he knew that that Ahmaud was about to encounter the McMichaels, because that's what they set up to happen.
And Lee, just curious, I think that the latest report suggests that it was a former attorney who released this video. Was there are you aware of any of how that video even got into the hands of this man who apparently at one time represented the McMichaels?
And that's really important. Roddy, of course, took the video at first, and that's his role in this case so far. But he never turned it over to the family. He never turned it over to anyone in terms of the public. It was a lawyer for the McMichaels who eventually released it and caused this public outcry that we're seeing now.
Are you concerned about getting a fair trial?
We are, and we've been pushing for safeguards to ensure a fair trial. A lot of them have happened. Joyette Holmes being the Cobb County District Attorney who was brought in, of course, the 4th District Attorney, but someone we believe that was conflict-free and who could vigorously prosecute the case. Next up, of course, is the question of jurisdiction, and we have a new judge in the case, and we believe in his ability to be fair as well.
Lee Merritt, thank you so much for your time and your insight. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Now, the only thing that I have to add after that detailed report is to ask everybody to please don't lose sight of this. Keep up the public pressure, because that's the only thing that's going to keep this moving in the direction where we want it to go, okay? And with that, that's all I have. Like and subscribe if you like what you see. Remember, the revolution is unclassified. Later.